Hi everyone, Flav here from the Blockchain Game Alliance. Super happy to be with you during these live. It's going to be a 3 hours live today with you. If you didn't notice for this week, we have the BGA AI week, meaning that AI was very important in terms of the takeaways we had in our last State of the Industry report we released at the end of last year with a lot of gems, a lot of takeaways, very insightful. And AI and the use of AI in blockchain gaming was definitely one of them. So we had a conversation yesterday to with 2 of our members try to pick the different takeaways we got from the report and try to understand what it is and what's behind and what to expect from that. And today is our demo day, so which means we're going to spend the time to talk about the products, the game using AI within the BGA with the help of our members. And the first will be with PlayTingz, with Julia. Julia, very happy to have you with me as the first guest. And yeah, I'm obviously super excited to see what you got.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, AI has been also super important to PlayTingz. We actually started out our company as like just a B2B gaming studio, but what we found out is with the traditional game creation method, just for our clients. So our clients are mainly like brands, IPs, companies who have like an audience. We saw that with the traditional game studio methods, we were just too slow and the price points were really high of the games we were creating. So basically we were missing our product market fit. And due to AI, we can now create our games up to 90% cheaper and faster. So actually we call it now, PlayTingz is creating games at like cultural speed. So you can think like the same how you create content on TikTok, we can create now games in the same amount of time and react really fast to like cultural moments. And that's our goal and our vision for PlayTingz actually.
It's very cool because before you get into it and you know how to share your screen, so you can get into it whenever you want, but at the same time, in one sentence or maybe 2, you actually picture the kind of conversation and all the topics we talked about yesterday with the members, will follow up with a lot of questions to you and what you're building, because there are a lot of opportunities relying on the surge of AI, but also a lot of threats, maybe not threat, but fears that I would love to get into with you, because you're developing a product which aims to disrupt the way brands and games are actually developing, let's say, gamified experiences. So super excited to have you with us. Whenever you're ready, happy to get you share your screen.
Perfect. So how I structure today's session is I'm first going to talk a little bit about PlayTingz so you understand what we're actually working on and what our whole business model actually is. So it's, I think, a bit interesting for the audience as well. Super quick. And then I will go to show an actual demo of our beta. And also I can show a few examples of the AI-generated games that we made and how they look like. We have some new ones that I can share with you. Cool. Perfect. So yeah, we at PlayTingz, we believe that the future of engagement is playable. So what we are trying to solve with PlayTingz is really the engagement problem. So my background is I'm coming from actually advertising, from marketing. So I spent a couple of years working big corporates, working for Google, working for Adidas, and there I worked with the biggest brands in the world. And what I saw is basically that this whole ad system is not working as good anymore as it was working. You know, brands are spending billions, but basically Gen Z is not really interested in ads anymore. They want something more, they want something interactive. And also on the other hand, we have so many creators, and that's something also very Web3 specific, that we have so many people who want to create their own games, interactive experiences, they have ideas, and they want to bring it to life. And the third thing is, of course, the audiences. They just don't want to watch like passive ads. They want to be active and they want to play. So how we are solving this is by making engagement playable. So brands can launch playable campaigns in hours, so same like a TikTok ad or like a Google ad. They can launch it the same day. And then creators can turn their ideas into games in interactive worlds, super easy with us. And audiences are just having fun, sharing it with their friends and spending time on our platform. And that's what PlayTingz is all about. So how are we doing this? You can see here a little explanation of our product. So our idea is we want to create games from prompt to play in hours. So you can log into our platform, describe the game you want, and we are guiding the user. I will show you in a demo step by step through the process. So it's nothing complicated, really easy to use. And then you get the creation in the app, so you don't have to download anything. It's just playable in the web browser. It's hosted by us. And then in a couple of hours, the game is ready. And we're using Unity, as you can see here already, with the nice graphics, which we all know is the biggest game engine in the world. We're also exploring other game engines, so to see which one fits us best for the future. But basically, yeah, we're using Unity and our MCP is talking to Unity, and that's how this game is created. I will show you a demo later on that. Yeah, I told you already a little bit about me, how I spent 10 years working for Google and Adidas, managing big portfolios, but I have a co-founder as well, Andreas, which is working on the product side. So he is really the expert in AI and Web3. He previously had a company in gaming, and also he exited a company in AI, and that's when he joined PlayTingz. He was a Web3 director for Human Protocol, so you can see really complementary skills here. And we have a development team of fantastic game developers and also a PhD in AI, which helps us develop our technology. So far, what we've achieved is, yeah, we are generating early revenue. We have a couple of B2B clients. I can show you a few examples. And this year, we won several prizes and hackathons. So yeah, we are part of the Super Team Germany. We won the Solana Hackathon in May for the German track, Jägermeister. We've been featured at EFCC presenting there. We won a hackathon during Token 2049, a pitch contest. So yeah, lots of exciting things happening last year. I also wanted to show, yeah, some of these early pilots that we created. So this is one of our clients, Grip AI. It's a prediction market insurance company. And during Dev Connect, they wanted actually to start building their community. So literally they had 0 people in this community. So what we did, we created this really easy, like fun headball game. It has an AI player as well, and you can exchange the heads of the players. So really easy to use, really like 1 week development time, really fast. And what we saw is that people loved to use this as a gamification tool. So we had 7,000 matches in 5 days. And we created almost a Telegram community with 8,000 members. So yeah, we can all agree, I think, who's watching today, that's the power of gaming. Like it really brings people together and builds this like loyal community. So that's one of our first case studies. Another case study, which was made not directly by us, but by one of our team members, is with Max Mader. So they wanted to launch a handbag collection. And for that, they created this super cute little game also it was a WebGL game. And basically to launch the collection, they did this branded game where with a focus on lead generation. So at the end of the game, you could basically leave your email address. And they had a 3 times higher conversion rate than comparing to the ads. And the game was played 3 minutes on average. So I think that's really powerful numbers. And that's why we are pursuing this kind of direction with PlayTingz. So yeah, so really the AI is amazing because I mentioned before, like the cost of the games are like 90% cheaper and faster. And we can also unlock new revenue streams for our partners. So if they already have a big community because they have a big IP, a big presence, we can monetize those audiences with branded ads, with, you know, subscription paid gaming models. So That's really something we are offering. And we are also helping to get like creator economy access with Tingz. So yeah, that's really what we are all about. Cool. So enough of our business model, and let's talk about, let's show you how our platform actually works. And I will show you a demo. Here it is. So I have it sped up because the process of creating a game takes a couple of hours. But if anybody's interested, I'm happy to give demo access. Flav, I think you haven't tried it yet. Maybe I should give you one actually.
I should, because I already have an idea. It might be something I'm going to talk about to you, but yeah, I have a specific idea of creativity, and you let me know if it's possible.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is our beta platform. You can see it's super easy to use. Like we really have a easy UI UX. It looks like, you know, all of the Gen AI platforms. So first you name your game idea, and then we guide you through the process. So we have different game scenarios, game types that you can select, all hyper casual games. We are specializing on hyper casual games, nothing complex. So match 3, endless runner, there will be tycoon and so on added to that. So every couple of weeks we are adding more. And you can see that the next step is we have a presetting. So here we pick the endless runner and a custom setting, but you can also pick one of the presettings. And if you pick custom, you can also say how it should look like. So for example, here we want like a galaxy with planets and moons. So it's creating a really nice looking 2D image, which will be the background of the game. And then next we are creating a lot of 3D assets, which we will be using as obstacles in the game. So we have here like a satellite, we have an asteroid. I think we will be also creating like a little robot. So different things. You can be creative and do whatever you like. You can, you know, say the colors, how it should look like, and so on. I think the quality of the 3D assets is fantastic. As you can see, the AI is so advanced right now. We are like very, very proud of that. So
what would be the kind of assets, digital game assets you rely on? Like, do you train the LLM in a specific way, or you get data from maybe the library of Unity itself?
Yeah, exactly. We have access to the Unity library, but we also have an agentic workflow basically that we created ourselves, which is using multiple tools to create assets in this good quality.
Okay.
Yeah, so we were experimenting with that a lot, and after months, this is where we landed, and we are actually, it exceeded our expectations, the results, to be honest, to have assets in that good quality. So here you can then confirm all of the assets, and you know, you can still make changes to it, and otherwise this is the moment where the AI work starts. So our MCP is talking to Unity and it's like placing all of these assets in the game. So you can see it's really nice quality. Yeah, this is just sped up. It will take a couple of hours, a lot of GPU and work on our side. Just to show you another example that we recently did. Here it is. This is also another example of, let me refresh that, of another game that we tried out. One of our devs just did it. Oh, I need to, okay, we actually need to play it now. Yeah, so completely generated by our AI. So you can see a little bit of a different style with a car. All of the objects are also auto-generated. And yeah, we are seeing lots of interest from our client on this type of game already. And yeah, this only takes us a couple of hours to generate. So really nice. And I'm really excited where the space is going. Also, what I can show you, for another client, it's an iGaming company. We enhanced the AI a little bit manually. So it was a mix of AI and manual work. So here we have, yeah, Mint, it's an iGaming company, and they have this polar bear mascot. So for them, we created actually a crypto rock puller game. So it's all about, you can see Pumpet, Alan, like rock pullers, and you can see I cannot multitask and play and talk. But basically, yeah, it's another endless runner. We have other types of games as well, but these just proven to be very popular with our audience at the moment. So yeah, so that's where we at with things. So we really go into this like hyper casual games, like how can we create this 3D environments with AI, 3D assets, customize it. You can see we don't go in the direction where, you know, you can just place everything. So we give a tight framework to our users, because what we see is when we don't tell the AI, when we don't give them like a framework, it's just not there. So we're working on it in the background, but it's just a lot of information to process. I think that's one of the concerns like everybody has, like how do you create really good gameplay and things like that. So you really have to teach the AI, like what is a good game. So we have an AI model which is like self-learning. So we teach it like with yes and no, like self-learning approach. What is a good game? What is a bad game? But basically it would still take some time to develop really like, you know, complex games. So, you know, we can use, for example, other graphics like Unreal Engine or like, you know, other game engines. But in terms of complexity of the games, I think it will take lots of time until we can create AAA shooter games, anything like that. Or maybe that should never be actually the goal, and we should just leave it where it is. So the AI has its place with like either enhancing workflows or just, you know, using more in this hyper casual space. Yeah.
And even for running game like the one you showed us, the deciding on the level of complexity and difficulty is also interesting. Do you feel like that's something you can also do or prompt, maybe like how many levels you want to define, how hard it's going to be? Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. We can also prompt different levels and how many objects you want to have. So for example, for some of the games, we had too many obstacles. And yeah, so you have to teach that. So it's an ongoing process to find the right balance. Yeah.
Okay. And it's not part of the, when you actually, so you said sometimes you need to have a mix of human impacts and using AI at the same time. Do you feel like using prompts for the level of complexity and difficulty is also possible? Like you can just prompt something and you're going to be able to define these yourself?
Yeah, I think where we mostly at the moment using manual work is for animations. That's a really hard one. Like having animations, like moving 3D avatar objects, which are like, you know, moving in a certain kind of way. We couldn't find so far any existing AI agents, models, tools, which could replicate it in a good way. So that's really something, like for example, this polar bear, like to get this in an AI quality, we couldn't find it so far. The good thing about AI is like everything you see, we started building in February. So it has been, yeah, maybe not even a year that we are building this. And I remember November the year before, so 2024, I was meeting tons of CTOs, devs, and I was telling them about my vision, and everybody was telling me, Julia, this is not possible. What you're telling me, it's like, this is not working. So yeah, I'm sure when we talk again in like half a year, I will be telling you, so yeah, we managed to crack it, because it's just developing so fast, everything. Yeah. And we're also really proud. Yeah, sorry.
No, please, go ahead.
No, and we're also really proud with the approach that we're using so far. We don't see any competitors in that space. Most of the other competitors we see are going more for 2D games. Yeah, so we are really happy with the progress.
What will be the distribution strategy you have in mind when you advise you advise a brand or an IP to use the platform themselves and to come up with a game? what's next, because they're not used to how to distribute a game to an audience. They might tap into their own audience on social media and everything, but how do you advise them to do?
Yeah, so for our current case studies, we were just using Twitter and Discord, and then what a really good thing is, you know, to have some kind of rewards at the end, competition, leaderboards, you know, all of the gamification elements we know and we love are working really, really well. So that's what we are doing currently for the clients. For Web2 clients, we also say use social media platforms like TikTok and so on. It's really an eye catcher when you have these games in this environment. It really stands out of the competition. Or we have a couple of clients where we just, you know, they have already a user base. For example, they have an app and they just integrate our games into their platform or in the app, and they already have people coming back. So what we are doing is we are prolonging the user session, we are increasing the user retention, and we are increasing the daily logins and check-ins for the apps. This is also working really well.
So wanted to share with you my, not specifically my dream, I will say my goal, because I feel like with the surge of AI and all the tools we have at hand in terms of being creative at a very low cost, in different ways, like videos, pictures, and now games, personal branding is becoming like something very important, because you have everything at hand, every tool. My, again, not dream, but I hope someone will make it, or maybe that's something you already do, is to come up with an RPG where you could tell a story or specific achievements, professional achievements, through a post, but also through an experience you're going to have through an RPG. I don't know if like 1 year ago when you were talking to CTO, it wasn't possible. It's still not possible. How do you think we're going to come up with that?
I'm seeing a few companies going in that direction. So in the last cohort of A16Z, I saw there is one company which is doing gaming in terms of brand storytelling. So storytelling was the whole. So I think that could be something you should keep an eye out. But they didn't release anything yet. But I was following them because I found it really interesting. So they were playing exactly with this storytelling narrative, how you can create interactive worlds to tell a story. And another thing which I saw is YouTube released playables. So it's also AI generated games for creators. So I think what we will see now is like Mr. Beast and all of them releasing little games on YouTube with their like, I don't know, with the characters, with the personalities. So yeah, we see a lot of things happening in that space right now.
So when you see all the social platform going in that direction, especially YouTube, as per your example, I feel like Tingz is kind of the perfect tool to use when you want to create those experiences and to be involved in those social networks, I guess.
Yeah, that's why we went mostly into the B2B direction. We first wanted to go into B2C. I think it's a fantastic space. So, you know, we were talking to a lot of blockchains, how to use our infrastructure to release, you know, creator games. But I think there's a lot of competition happening in that space. And I think some of the guests which are coming this afternoon with you, they are already in that space. So it's getting really crowded. That's why we decided to go for the B2B route and use it more as an engagement tool for communities and and position ourselves a little bit different. But yeah, it's super interesting space, especially when you combine it with blockchain tokens and, you know, decentralized ownership. It's I think it could be the next surge of Web3 gaming, which we will hopefully see this year, not only prediction markets.
That's actually one of the questions I had, like, because you work for someone for predictive markets at DevCon. How do you feel like, why do you feel like the crypto audience was actually super excited to see this kind of experience from the predictive market you partner with? Like, why does it make sense to tap into the specific audience when you develop such a game?
Yeah, I think for them, for the whole, we have actually a couple of iGaming prediction clients. I mean, they are really interested in tapping into a new audience and capturing their attention. So actually what we are proposing to them, like for example, integrating those games, like, okay, I can tell you an example. We have one client which wants to do social prediction. So for example, he was asking if one of the politicians like Trump has another crazy idea. Can we do like in 24 hours a game with his face and like in a boxing ring or doing something completely crazy just to capture people's attention, you know, and then post it on Twitter where it's already trending, you know. So these are some of the ideas we are having, like how can we capitalize where the attention is going and just gamify it. And that's a good way, I think, for this prediction market companies. And then you can place your bets. How do you think will it end? Will this happen or this happen? I don't want to say any specific examples. There are too many in the recent period, but it could be a fun way how to predict politics or social events or cultural moments. So we are looking into that as well. So if something like this happens, I will definitely share.
Yeah, it's important what you said, because it's kind of one of the takeaways we got from the founder of Mighty Bear Games was actually saying that it's very interesting to actually utilize AI for blockchain companies, because you always need to be on the move, try to catch the attention as per what's happening in the space, and what's happening in the space is based on what's happening in the meme ecosystem, in the politic ecosystem for sure, especially in the US. So your ability to be very agile through the kind of development you do, whether it's through content creation or product development, AI looks like a perfect bet. So yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and that's why we pivoted as well, because when we went to all of these clients and we were like, we need 3 to 6 months to create a game, they were like, this is just too slow. So that's why AI is a good companion for that.
What should I wish? So we are at the very beginning of the 2026 year. What should I wish you to achieve in 2026 for PlayTingz?
So our big goal for this year is to scale. We had last year we started building, we had a couple of pilots happening. So this year we are scaling our big company. That's my biggest goal as a CEO. So what I wish is that we see our games exactly distributed on Twitter, on the social media platforms, and that you will see them organically popping up on your feed. That would be my biggest goal for next year.
Yeah, I will definitely do a screenshot if I do see anything on my feed for sure. But I love it. Thanks a lot, Julia, and wishing you the best for what's coming with PlayTingz. A lot of exciting things with us as well with the BGA. And
thank you for having me.
Thanks a lot for your time, and will be lovely to.
Yeah, and I'm excited for the rest of the afternoon. I will definitely stay on to see the other exciting companies. So can't wait to see what they are doing.
Definitely, yeah. We're gonna have Diogo on the line very soon. So thanks again, Julia, and I wish you a very good afternoon.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye. All right, so let me just wait a little bit for Diego, because I feel like maybe there was a little bit of a misunderstanding around the link I've shared. So let me just do a few things so I'm sure Diego can join. Yeah, he's. Hey, Diego. I cannot hear you.
I believe now you can hear me.
I can. Yeah, exactly. Sorry for that. I think it was on my side. It was a wrong link, but thanks for joining.
No worries. I was here already prepared to show everything, so it's just a matter of changing the link. No worries.
Perfect. Good to have you. So as you can see, we just talked to Tingz. Now we have QUDO with Diogo speaking about all the development on their side as per what they're doing and how they're helping game developers. So Diogo, I see your screen and what you're sharing. So whenever you're ready, the stage is yours.
I'm ready.
All right. Here you go.
So yeah, thank you so much, Flav, and yeah, thanks so much for the invitation to be here. AI is being a part of QUDO development over the recent year because we have been seeing that it is evolving quite fast, and there is definitely a need and an interest for gaming developers with this. So for those who don't know, we are a Web3 incubator for indie games. We have been developing QUDO for quite some time now, and we have been incubated games from all over the world, especially games from smaller indie studios or even solo developers. And what we have been seeing is there was a lot of members in our community that for some reason they never opt to go to learn about game development. They never wanted to deep some time into learning how to develop a game to add to our platform, although they had like really great ideas for games that they would love to try new concepts. And so what we have seen is not only we want to accelerate the conversion of good games that are coming from the Web 2 side to the Web 3 side, but we also want to give the opportunity for anyone coming from the Web 3 side or the Web 2 side to experiment their own ideas on an easy way and test it directly with the community. And to do this, and I'm here already sharing our platform at games.qdo.io. If you scroll down, you'll see that we have here the AI playground with some games already created by our community. And this is really, really simple how you can, in a matter of minutes, to create a game with your own idea. Of course, the first prompt will be pretty generic. You're gonna explain how will be your game idea, and I already have here one prepared so that we don't lose too much time on this. But you can experiment with your own idea, like if you were using ChatGPT to create your own game. So I just copy pasted the game idea that I had here, and I'm gonna show you guys. So basically, I wanted to create a mini roguelike arena. So it will be like a top-down arena, like spawn waves. You need to avoid them while you're shooting. So it was a pretty simple prompt that I just shared here, and you use this as a ChatGPT. Even the interface quite resembles a lot of ChatGPT. But the main difference is not only it will provide you the code for the game itself, but the game will be automatically hosted once you publish it on our platform. So you can create the game directly on our platform through the AI playground, and then the game will be automatically available to everyone in our community, and they will be able not only to play your game, but also review your game directly on the platform. And you're not limited to one prompt only. As you can see, I have many chats here open on my left, is that I can still keep optimizing the game after my first prompt until I'm satisfied with the result. It's not like once you publish the game, you cannot do anything afterwards. You can continue improving your game by giving more information to the AI so that it can continue developing. So as you can see, it was a matter of just short minutes, 1 or 2, and I have the first version of the game that I created, and I can even access to the code if I want to. If I want to do some optimization, if I am already aware, I'm a game developer and I can make some small optimizations, I have access to it. But there's no need. I can open the game directly here. So you can see I'm going to press play game. I'll be able to, a game was just created in a matter of minutes. It gives me the prompts, the WASD, and I can play directly on PC. I can create games that are playable on PC, but also playable on mobile. So it's up to the person that is creating. They can create a game that's more for mobile and for PC. But for mobile, we have a special tune that I'm just gonna reveal in a matter of minutes, but I think it's gonna be quite interesting, especially for the Web3 side. So yeah, let me show you guys how the game is. So I need to spare space. Let me just check one thing. How does the game work? You shoot automatically the nearest enemy. Okay. So enemies will start appearing. If not, I need to say to the AI that it's not working for you to optimize it again. And it seems it's not working. Okay, no worries.
As I asked to Julia just before, and while you're doing that on your side, like what kind of so Julia was capitalizing on assets, game assets coming from Udity on your side when you prompt something and you deliver some game assets to the prompter. What kind of asset do you rely on?
So right now we are using the assets straight from the AI itself. So the assets will be pretty generic, will be just shapes. But we know, and we have been working on and seeing that there is a potential for us to add that there are repositories online that you can add and that the user can link it. It's already available. If you know a little bit of what you're doing, you can upload a 3D asset directly on the AI playground. But we wanted to make it easier so that you don't need to upload it directly. You can say something like, I want a sword from the medieval times, and you'll be able to enter the sword, and the game will be automatically created and generating that 3D asset, because it has access to a lot of online repositories. And of course, the best repositories, the better repositories, the better the 3D assets will be. So this is quite important, and it will be the next step. But we also develop these pretty modular, so we are not reliant on the AI that we are using right now. We make sure that we can migrate to a newest version of AI if we see that there is a potential for it, and you see that it is interesting, and that it is better for us to use it. So it's not limiting anyone else. So it's quite complex. And yeah, as I was saying before, right now I'm creating a game for desktop. That's why I see this slider over here, but I can choose to create for mobile, but I can also try to create a version that is compatible for both desktop and mobile. So this is quite interesting. Another thing that I said before and could be interesting, it is that the games that are created on mobile, and since we also have a Telegram Games app on our platform, we automatically publish the games on our Telegram Games app, so that the games that are created on mobile can also be played on Telegram Direct. No need to do anything differently. So I think that's quite a good thing. But yeah, I think I need to do a new prompt. So let me try again. So yeah, in the games that are created here will automatically be reviewed by our community, and the top 10, because we are not going to add all the games to the platform right after. We want the games to be only the best ones will be shown on Telegram. So the top 10 games that are more played and also that have the best reviews will be the ones that will be featured on our community. So this is how it looks, the platform. This will take some time.
Interesting thing you said also, Diogo, before was you can still launch the game, publish the game, but still prompt anything on the project, which is interesting because it feels like on a lower scale, obviously not for a big game, but you could use it as a live ops strategy, just if you want to use a different genre like Christmas genre for Halloween genre. If you just need a prompt to change a little bit of the atmosphere, it's interesting to see that as a live ops strategy. What do you think? Do you feel like it's something that could be utilized?
Sure. This is not limited, as I said before, it's not limited for the first prompts and when you publish. You can have like a new game that you have been creating, and then you say, okay, there's a new idea that we could use what we have built before or through prompts and give it a new twist. We were creating a puzzle game, but now it's Christmas, and we think like, okay, we could adapt that the game that we created before, give it a new twist, and we'll, with this new idea that come up that we got inspiration from whatever, and give it a new twist. You're not going to lose the game that you created before. You can still go there, unless you close the chat. So that can happen. So yeah, here you go. So I have here like a new roguelike game that I created. They have like HP, and I think you start after some time you get options that it's like a roguelike game, and you created the game in a minute. First time didn't work so well, but the AI sometimes doesn't work as we want. But with the new chat, I was able to create a game. And as I said before, this is not limited. This is only the first prompt. You probably won't create a game the way you like it just by a simple prompt as I did before, but you can keep reiterating and trying to add a new thing. Like, for example, I don't like that it is too geometrical. I want to have something different. So it will be pretty generic, but it's just to not lose so much time, I want to see how it looks. Make it more flashy or something like that, just to see how it does. Yeah, just out of curiosity to see if it works or does something different. But yeah, you can give it more detail. I'm being really general. As you can see, my first prompt was just one paragraph. I didn't give too much detail, but there are users on our community, and I'm going to show you some games that the people have been creating, that they optimize this in a way that they are creating like role-playing games where you have quests, they enter the things there, that they're really going to detail, but they already have like a chat history of over 100 prompts that they've been using the AI playground. But we're gonna get to that. I just want to show you that you can continue reiterating the game that you created, and you are not limited to the first prompt that you used. Right now, for all users, this is free. So, but you are limited to 10 prompts a day. We are about to launch QUDO on mainnet. We finally got the MiCA regulated here in Portugal. It took in place in December, so we're going to launch quite soon, finally. So for now, this is free for everyone. So I definitely incentivize you guys to try it out, give us feedback. Once we launch on mainnet, probably going to be a bit different once we have our token running on mainnet. But for now, take advantage of that. Try creating your own games and experiment with the community. Because as we call ourselves an incubator, we have plans to check the best games that were created through the AI playground and incubate on our funnel so that it can become an actual game to be used and download on Play Stores and whatsoever. But this is a good way for players to experiment their ideas and try to make it more interesting. And I think it's giving a few issues, but yeah, let me show you guys what I was saying before regarding the games that were created. So as you can see, there are a lot of games that were created from our community. We have like Ralph the game. This was really inspired by arcade games that were created by our community, and the list is quite big already. You have people creating like Super Mario's and such, creating Pongs and Tetris and so on. But yeah, let's just show you a little bit of how it looked with a little bit of effort. And we have like the Ralph. This is to be played on mobile, and you see that you can test out ideas, test out game mechanics, and once you see that it is a game that the people enjoy it and they love playing it, you can even experiment more and create new games. So what we want is people to be able to, and even smaller in the studios, to test ideas before compromising to creating fully fledged game that's probably going to take a whole month. So they can test that idea, test it directly with the community to see if there's something that they would like. And if they see that there is interest in that game because the community will vote, they can then focus on creating an actual game.
Okay. It was one of the questions I had for you, actually. So you kind of responded to that question. It was what is the audience for the users of these AI tools, is to kind of play test the development of such a game they have an idea on, but try to make it in a very low cost so they can play it with the community and get some feedback and see if there is something behind.
Yeah, the ideal our target audience is people that don't know how to create games, or they just want to test ideas in a quick way. Then they can test it directly on the community. So this is really good for indie gamers that love playing games and creating these kind of games with new mechanics. Smaller studios that want to test their ideas before compromising to create an actual game. So we want to make it ideally that anyone can become a game developer by creating a game in a matter of minutes, and then seeing if it is a good match or not. Since we have the tools to incubate games, either with our services like programmers to the 3D artists and so on, that can be used to create a fully fledged game, this will be like an entry zone where even if you are not a game developer, you can create a game through the AI. And if you see that it is showing interest, because once you create a game through the AI playground and it's listed on our platform, you also earn QUDO rewards the same way as a game developer earns. So if your game is good enough and people are playing it, even if it was created through the AI playground, both the people playing the games that are on the AI receive QUDO tokens for their playtime, and also the creators that create this game also receive tokens once the community is playing his game. And he can keep accumulating these tokens, and later on he can even reinvest those tokens into hiring these services that are on our platform, so that he can create and become an actual game, an actual fully fledged game, not only a concept that was created through the AI playground. This will be the end goal.
Very cool.
So yeah,
and in terms of, go ahead.
You had a question?
No, but I want to make sure you show everything you got. So yeah, I will ask question later.
Okay. I just wanted to show you guys another games that I've been creating, spending a bit of time so that you can see it. So I've been testing quite a bit, as you can see. So and it can go from easier games like you see on the player mobile that show quite complex, like a memory game that's quite easy, where you can become a little bit more, and it's like a twist that I was creating, like a mobile game for the Halloween, and where you can be creating, not this one. I think it's this one. Yeah, there's a lot of versions. There you go. Where I was trying to create a mobile game where you can try to grab candy, and the bigger ones will fill in the hole, and the other ones won't. And it already has some sound. I don't know if people can hear it or not, but
no, we can't.
Yeah, you can. Okay, so there's a bit of sound where you can already start integrating some sounds in the game itself and experiment with it. But yeah, the sky's the limit. This is already in early access. People already creating some games with the first concept. Is still really fine-tuning. We are speaking, we are optimizing, especially with the 3D assets that you were mentioning, because we see that it is something that the community wants, and they want to play with those things. And yeah, we are going to keep doing it. Yeah, just showing a few games that people have been creating.
That's cool.
Even this.
But I mean, just the process of lead me to the process of using adding some sound effects, maybe not just sound effect, but the music background within the game. Like it just, again, prompting something and you have a link. Like how does it work?
Right now it's a bit sketchy because we haven't enabled that for the community. So you need to actually know a little bit of because you can upload code directly to the AI playground as well. So you can download the code, add the asset, the link to the asset, and then upload it directly to the AI playground. But we want this to be easier in the later stages. But of course, we are still testing. It's not yet optimized. But at least the first concept of having the ability to, through the game idea, to create a game, it's already there. And even though our community has been testing a little bit, as you can see, there are some people already commenting, because there are games that allow you even to upload directly. Like this game is like a Guitar Hero similar, where you can even upload the game directly to the game itself. I don't have this audio file because I already played it. You can upload to Town Hall. You're gonna open. I don't know if you can see it. It's opening the game. Let me see if I can add a sound. So I don't have any music here, I think. But yeah, so it will allow you to upload the sound, music that you have, and play it directly in the game, like if you were playing with Guitar Hero. So it's quite interesting, and it is just done through the AI playground. We were not even aware that this was possible, but yeah, it's called on WebGL, and people were just testing out. And yeah, the sky's the limit. And as the AI improves, people also gonna bring up new ideas and such. So it's quite cool.
It's interesting because it feels like you're making it easy for any game developer to test their own ideas, but they can also, as we said, tap into their own audience and have their feedback and how to improve the game and whatever. But also you tap into the community or developers you have on QUDO, so you can exchange some ideas and some. Exactly what you just said. You were not aware of a specific utility, and is it something that a lot of developers can share with each other, like how to use it to themselves, or do you see some conversation between them?
Yeah, I see that people have been discussing what they can do with AI, because it's like we've seen with the early days of ChatGPT. We are using AI, so they can experiment a lot of things, and we see that they are discussing like, have you tried doing this, and maybe this will work. And not only developers but players, and we saw the AI playground as a connection between them, because something that they can all share some experience, and it's a gray area for most of them, and they are testing out. Even for us, we are testing out a little. Our end goal will be that we will be able to create a game from start to finish through the AI playground. And we have been doing it. We haven't published them, but there are games that we have been creating that have over 100 or 200 already chats on the chat history. But we are trying to be able to create a game that it is good enough that we can also feature as a one of our core games that we see on our platform. But it's just a way to attract more indie developers and to show them the capabilities of not only AI but also Web3, so that they can enter the platform, create a game, and then they'll say, okay, I can create the games. I see that the community is enjoying my game, or they are giving feedback, because that's the whole goal of the game, is for people to give feedback, as you can see, and test out game ideas, and even to learn from it.
Actually, it was one of the questions, because I know you're deeply involved in the blockchain mechanics from the beginning, like for years. Explain to us, like, how do you see the use of AI for blockchain games, or games utilizing blockchain as you do? What's the purpose? How do you see that?
So we are really not strict, but our goal by using blockchain technology in games was always the same. And the way we see Web3 in gaming is the same thing we see AI in gaming. So we want to use it in a way that it leverage or enhance the game itself, not so that it's Web3 to enhancing gaming rather than a gaming to enhance the Web3 part. This has been our focus since day one. And AI can definitely use it. So on the indie game scenarios, that's what we have been focused more. It accelerates the testing of ideas, and it gives them the concepts. We want them to test it out, see if it works, and then if they see that it is a good game, they can then optimize it and the way they want to then list the game on our platform as an actual game and not as an AI playground game. And we want it to be automatically implemented with the Web3 part, so that they don't need to have any issues with that. So we not only have the SDK that's easy for games that are created, that you can implement it in less than 15 minutes. Now you want that you don't even need to implement any SDK if you create a game through the AI playground, because the QUDO SDK will already be integrated in a way that you are already receiving tokens that you can use either the AI part or use it on the Web3 part. So it will be still an interoperable token that can go from the AI part to the Web3 part. So that's our goal, to combine those things in a way that it enables the creativity of our community, and they have fun with it, they share, and they are everyone for the same goal, to create fun experiences with game, either through Web3 or through AI.
There is something very important based on the takeaways of our report, because one of the kind of threat/concern that we got from the respondent was a lack of creativity, because it feels like for a lot of people, when you rely more and more on AI, you're actually less and less creative. But even for PlayTingz, and especially with you now, it feels like it's definitely not the case, because you are empowering yourself to be more creative with other tools. I don't know if you agree, but based on what you just said, it seems like it's definitely
I agree and I disagree. I think AI will not replace creativity in a way that I have an idea. I'm not going to say to AI, create me the best game possible, create me an interesting game. I will be the one creating the idea. Yes, the creativity in terms of digital assets and the way the game looks. If you do it that with the AI, it's just not going to be that much different. It's not going to be that interesting, in my opinion. But it can definitely allow you to create a baseline that you can test the game mechanics and keep optimizing till you found the game that you are proud of. Like, for example, with this AI playground, I've been testing a lot of different ideas there. I'm not going to say that the final version of each chat that I have there will be the one that I will be sharing. If I like the game version that it is, that the game mechanic is interesting and people have fun, even without optimizing and making my non-AI part, if I can call it like that, like I give my own sense of creativity and even with other people that are more experts in that area to design and make it look more different and more unique, then there will be great. But for now, it's it's a way to express creativity on a different method, and it accelerates for you to test a lot of different things in a short period of time, rather than, because I see that the main issue that I see with indie games is they never finish their first game. So they keep developing, and then they see that there is a new idea, that they have an experiment, and then they now stop developing the first idea that they go, and then go to the second idea and the third, and never actually finish the game. And this will just allow them, okay, test all your ideas and then compromise to the one that you fell in love and you think it will work, rather than jumping from a game idea to another game idea. And we want to accelerate that. And probably even some gamers that will start with AI Playground, they'll find it interesting, and maybe they'll start learning game development along the way. And maybe we are going to be the entry point, and that sparks the interest into creating their own games in a kind of be an easier way entry. But I'm sure that if they like the game that they are creating, I can definitely say that they also explore different options to make their game better.
Wishing you in the next 5 years that the next game of the year was actually prompted on QUDO. Let's wish that for you.
That will be great. That will be great. So there's a rumor, even the game of the year of this year, like Expedition, that it started with AI, because they accelerated. They were a small team, but they have really a good vision, and the game new game mechanics and the game history, and they accelerated a lot through AI to create the game mechanics and the characters and so on. But it was just to accelerate. They change it, then they optimize it in the way that it feels their expression, and I don't think that's bad. That's, for some reason, it was probably one of the best games ever. Doesn't matter if they started with using AI or if they used some AI content to start it off. It is really, and for someone who's playing, I'm currently playing, that's why I'm really passionate about it. Is that I don't mind if they use it AI in the beginning. It's unique, and it's not something that I think another company with all the AIs in the world could replicate it directly. So I think I don't mind, and I think it will help, especially on competitive games. Sorry for going a little overboard. There's one thing that people hate in video games, which is people cheating, and with AI, it's going to probably revolutionize the world, because it could check patterns and it could definitely make it a better environment for people to play it. So that's my take on it, and I'll continue seeing if the other colleagues that will be presenting here today will also think the same. But I think so.
No, thanks a lot for that. It was good. I think it gave me an idea, which is too late, but I'm going to remember for the next one, because it would have been good to set up a kind of panel conversation around these decisions to not reward the game of the year, which was another competition, just because they used AI. So it would have been good to talk about that with you and other members. So I will remember that for next time. Thanks a lot, Diogo, for the time. It was super insightful.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Bye, Flav.
Have a good day. Bye-bye, Diogo. See you.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Constantin, how are you?
Hey, how are you, Flavien? Thanks for having me on the show.
No, pleasure.
Yeah, congratulations for QUDO. Is this how you say it?
QUDO? Exactly.
Yeah. That's amazing. Yeah, I didn't know
Very
it.
Cool.
Thanks for
very cool tool.
Yeah, very
At some
cool.
point, you could plug it to AardaAI at some point if you tell us more about it. Let's see. Yeah, to just tell everyone. So we got Tingz and QUDO just before, and super happy to have Constantin for AardaAI. So we dived into the game development sphere ecosystem using AI. Now it's more like the narrative, the storytelling, the lore. So I would love you to explain what it is. I wonder if you already used StreamYard before, but it's super easy for you to share your screen. You have a button below when you can share it yourself, the screen, share screen button.
Yeah.
And you can immediately share the screen you have.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So share screen. Yeah, actually, that's pretty easy. Yeah, thanks for having me, Flavien. Hi, everyone. I'm Constantin, but you can call me Constantine. That's fine.
I would not do that. Like, I'm too French to say Constantine.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Flavien. So I am COO at a startup called AardaAI. And Arda is you could frame it as the world's first and only world building tool for that is AI, 100% AI native. And what I mean by world building is narrative world building, because you hear world building a lot when it comes to asset generations, making 2D, 3D, whatever, it's Midjourney or any other platform that allows you to make such things. And I'm not sharing the right window, so I'm picking another one. Yeah, to maybe give a little background on myself, I have been a narrative designer in the game space for about 12 years. I did pretty much everything. I did Facebook, because we used to have games on Facebook. Do you believe that? Very successful ones. Mobile, console, and more recently crypto. I used to work on a game called Cloudborne at a studio called Antler Interactive, and it would have been, because it got cancelled, it would have been the very first fully AI crypto RPG game, and it was like the final frontier of whatever is possible. But I guess we're coming back to that later. So this is Arda. This is what you're seeing. It's a world-building platform, but this is also a platform for everybody. So you just register. Don't look for it. It's not out yet. It's going to be out in a couple of months. But I'm very happy to show you a sneak peek at what it looks like. So you will register and you will have access to a lot of playable stories. And from here, you will have lots of genres. It's community-based, so people create stories and they publish it on the platform, just like QUDO does in a way. And then as a new user, you come here and you are welcomed by a plethora of playable stories. And we already have pre-registered users that are already building lots of stories. So we will have any genre. You can go RPG, science fiction, drama, K-drama, romance, horror, whatever is possible. Cozy games, anything. So what you do is that I'm going to show you a game. This is going to be our flagship game called Orbs and Gods. It's an original creation. So I'm just going to show you how it plays, and then I will show you how it's built, because Arda is not just a platform to play, it's also a platform to build experiences. And hopefully it's very easy to do. So what you do is that you pick your game. Here I picked this one. We're going to play Orbs and Gods. You have a quick tagline, and you click New Game for a new story, right? So you are welcomed with a quick sum up of the story. I can pick the character I'm going to play as, because this is very unique. This time you're not just some user talking to a chatbot on a platform like Character.ai or Chai or whatever else app there is online. There's so many of them now. This time you are someone in the story. You are part of the world. So you click to choose your hero, but I have one hero, but I could have several others. So you continue the story. You have a map, and you are welcomed by, oh, sorry, I'm gonna reshuffle the save. I need to, sorry, just a little, very quickly, reset the save, because it didn't start from the beginning. So this is the beginning of the story. A new day. So the story is, I am a knight, and I'm going to be demised. My status as a knight will be stripped away from me, because my son, he lost the battle to the enemy, basically. So because of him, I'm not going to be a knight anymore, and that's me. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go talk to the son. So at any moment in the game, you can check up your objectives, checking what you have to do. You can do so by clicking here. So I need to appease my son's sorrow. We're going to do that. My son is home. I have a location here. My son is here. I click on the profile and the conversation will begin. So again, the AI, the way we do it is that it's very smart. It's not just another chatbot that is in some fishbowl just existing by itself. This conversation is part of a broader world. So the AI knows first who the son is and also who I am. It knows where we are, in what room, and in what world. So there is a lot of context added to any conversation. So I can just pick a generated answer here, or I can type my own, but for the sake of simplicity, I will just pick one here. And we have an objective. It's not just about chatting for this conversation. You can see here there's a mood gauge. He's sad, and I need to make him happy, like not sad. So you see the gauge moved. I need to push it even farther so the sun doesn't feel too sad anymore. So we can do the same. And here I can check my objectives all the time. I know that my son feels broken and humiliated, so I need to regain his confidence. Okay, we're doing good work here. We almost hit the threshold. So maybe some last cheering up will do the thing. I understand teamwork is crucial, but actually I can type my own answer and say something very nice like, I will always be by your side. And this
and
should...
even the three suggestions you just show us, like they are not generated by anyone. It's actually just based on the AI and what they know to suggest a few responses. Yeah. Okay.
So these responses are generated, yes, but they're not generated out of the blue. They take in consideration all the context I put in this specific conversation. I'll show you that in a minute. So we have completed the objective. We can proceed to the next chapter, and you have a pop-up telling you about the story. So this is scripted, right? This is not generated. I decided that at this very specific moment, I would get a pop-up with some illustration saying that there is nothing I can do to appease my son's sorrow any further, and I need to go see the king now. So we'll do just that. I can continue conversation with the kid, but I can also leave. And here on the map, I've unlocked a new location. I will show you that. So I have a new pop-up telling me what I have to do. And I have a new location that just appeared. And in this location, I can go talk to the king, but I can also talk to the woman here. We'll go talk to the king. Yeah, following up on what you said, Flavien, because what we do, when I first worked with AI tools, I always felt a bit frustrated. Every solution I've worked with was very limited. Imagine a whole game with a large scope, like an RPG, like World of Warcraft, for example, and you would go talk to an NPC in the game, but this NPC would be like a fishbowl. It's got its own little bubble of existence. What we do is very different. Every character is part of a much, much larger world, and we are the only ones to do that, actually. Or at least I've never seen anything like it. Right, so the conversation with the king is a bit different. It's not about his emotions, but we need to bring up a specific topic. We need to ask him about the new assignment. And until you do that, if you don't do that, I could command his robe, his crown, but the conversation could go on forever if I don't mention that specifically. So, but if I do, tell me about my new role. It should trigger the objective as done. And this is where we can interweave with gameplay. Imagine this is a whole 3D game with inventory, combat. I can send triggers to the game engine because in this conversation, I mentioned this very specific topic, and this topic could unlock me some password for a dungeon, or should unlock me some objects or anything. So, okay, we did talk to the king. Okay, so we passed the chapter, and now we need to go see the stable boy, and the stable boy is going to give us our new gear. Anyway, this is how the game plays like. And again, now I'll show you how it's done, and it's really easy. So the basics of Arda as it exists now is very narrative. It's made of chats and images, and we're looking at how to make it more visual. But where Arda is very strong as opposed to many other AI narrative solutions is in the build mode. So we're going to look at this game and how it's built. If I click edit, I'm going to show you the very core of Arda, and that's it. This is the world building of the whole story. Because what really surprised me when I first talked about other studios around AI and narratives, or solutions or other startups selling AI-enabled solutions is that, yeah, like I said, it was always limited. And AI is capable at fetching any little piece of information in huge data sets. So I thought, what is the most data-centric way to tell a story? That's world building. I know it sounds very unromantic, but world building is pretty much data science for storytelling. That's what it is. So for me, it was very natural to transfer arborescence, complex data sets into storytelling, hence a world building platform. So this is the world building of my story of Orbs and Gods, what you just saw in playing. And so it goes pretty deep. You always go from macro, so locations, objects, and then you go to the planet. And in the planet, we have a temple for the gods, but I have 2 continents. And in this continent, I have kingdoms, 3 kingdoms. And in this kingdom, I have a city, I have an outpost. And in the city, I have this stable. I could go on like this much, much deeper. If you look at the size of it, that looks good. That looks pretty solid. But actually, I'm not happy with it yet. I would love it to be 5 times, 10 times bigger. And Arda allows that. It allows virtually to have GTA 6 or even the whole lore of World of Warcraft into one single project in Arda, because that's the very first thing we've delivered is a strong world-building architecture. And
go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, you have something?
I had a question on that because first, that's fascinating for sure, and I do see
Thank
the value for it. You have a lot of expertise yourself to set up narrative. How do you expect game studio to be able to utilize them? Do you assist them into prehending these type of data story visualization?
Yeah, so that's the challenge here. 3 years ago, when ChatGPT happened, basically, I would assume that 6 months later, AI chatbots would be in every single video game that we're playing today. It hasn't happened. Is it happening? Not really. Maybe we'll get a chance to discuss more about that on Thursday, but it's really fascinating. Every game analyst is saying that this is maybe the most promising revolution in AI. I mean, generating 3D assets in 1 minute is a revolution in itself, but is it new to the mix in the way we play games? Not really. It's just cheaper, faster, and it allows more people to come into the game of making a game, I say so. But being able to walk into a game as big as World of Warcraft or Witcher and have a conversation with a character that will remember what I said, and based on what I say, this character will make a decision, will share some secrets or not with another, and granularly, organically, some things will happen and come up. That's very revolution. That's a true revolution. And the fact is, it's not really happening because we don't have the tools yet. Every game studio I spoke to wants a very solid infrastructure because they still fear that the AI could go off and say something unrelated to the game and could break the immersion. So that's the challenge every studio has today. And I would like to believe that we're fixing that with Arda. My CTO, Kenai, he would tell you, no, that's not true. We cannot prevent any AI to hallucinate. But we kind of disagree on that because I always say, if I ask a character in my game, what is the specific object that allows me to find the temples of the gods, it's going to be that one. The characters in my game cannot make that up. The AI won't say, oh yeah, it's some jewel, for example. No, that's not a jewel, because the AI knows that it's only the frog compass that allows anyone to find the temple. It will not extrapolate on anything else because it has the data in its data set. So that, I hope Arda will be the ultimate solution for any game, whatever the scope, so they know the narrative is covered. What's more is that you can see this brick of knowledge is private, so it's given to specific characters. For example, this compass, only her knows. only she knows for a compass. All the rest, all the people, supposedly, they don't know about the compass, because I decided this compass, only she knows. The rest, they don't know anything. And in the course of gameplay, of course, if you have a conversation and you decide that she tells you, you will, as an effect, give also that piece of knowledge to your main character or to other characters in the room, for example. Imagine a scene in which she yells, "This is the compass that helps you find the gods." Every single character in the room will know. So imagine the scene, really, this is already doable in a live game. Which allows me to show you how characters are made. It's pretty simple, really. If you have notions of a role-playing game, it's pretty similar. These are character sheets. You describe your characters, and the more you describe them and the richer the description is, the better the conversations will be. It's also something I hear from game devs and also fellow narrative designers is, I always hear, the AI is bad. It's always feel mundane and not original. Well, it depends on what you feed it. If you feed it a rich description with lots of details on the backstory, the character's motivation, it will be better. So that requires some work here. Our AI is going to take away our jobs. I would say with this, it's going to give us even more work to do, because it requires so much work and so much thinking and world building, and adding some quality will always pay off in the end for the player. So what you can play around with the emotional stats, and these are dynamic. For example, this is what we did with the kid earlier. He was around here in sadness, and we made him like this. So that's better. And so he will sound a little more happy if we had continued on the conversation. I can also show you who your player is. That's pretty similar. That's the character you play as. And again, you're not just some name, age, gender, user. You can do groups. So for example, I can decide this group of people have certain knowledge and they have negative opinion towards this other group. So you can work on relationships between entities of characters. And you also have the maps. As you could see, there was a map. So this is where I choose my map and I pinpoint some locations here. Same, I describe what the locations look like, and anything's possible. If I want to choose that the house is on fire and I want the characters to know that the house is on fire when I talk to them, I just type the house is on fire and you need to exit, and the players will be panicking. The characters will be panicking because they will know that the house is on fire. And I would guess last but not least is the story flow. We are really proud of that. Again, we are the only ones to work on these flows. This is where I organize my story. So we just played the first 3 chapters. One was to talk with my kid, first take the assignment from the king, and we didn't play the third one fully, but I had to ask for my new gear, basically. And when you ask, he will give you that. But the story goes on, and it's going to be fully playable in about 2 months. It will be like I would say a 1 hour long story, and it's fully original. I'm not using Gen AI to have my ideas for a story. This is a truly original work. Also, when the platform comes out, we'll have many stories of every genre. And building is a bit complicated. We know that. So we know it's going to be a minority of builders, but we know that there's a lot of creative people out there really wanting this sort of tools to be able to build a playable story under 1 hour max very easily. You can also generate the pictures natively in Arda just by clicking image. And again, this is the core of a chapter. So you describe the conversation so the characters know what they will talk about. It's not like because many chatbots, they feel like going on a Tinder date and you have nothing to tell the other person, right? This is what it feels like. It feels very cold and awkward. But this time it's all covered because the characters have something to talk about to you. And also the character that you play as will always have something relevant to say to the other character. You won't have to type everything and figure out, okay, I need to tell this because this is the story. So this is very smooth experience. You can in any chapter, you choose the tension level. So this will also influence the character, how the characters speak. Pacing is a bit similar. And here then again, you describe how your character should feel to one another. Right, so this is pretty much what we have with Arda. Again, it's coming out in a couple months. And maybe two things we can do for game studios. One, we can build experiences based on their game. We've just finished a campaign towards game studios. And as I told you, putting AI natively in their game, there's still a lot of questions. We need to do a lot of education, a lot of proof of concepts that are very solid and adopted by the mass audiences before studios move forward with this technology. So what they like is the idea of having a side game for their live ops. For example, you mentioned the live ops and everything you could do before on the previous demo. We are in talks with lots of studios who like the idea of having a live ops side game to promote a new story or a new character or a new feature. And that's very easy to do and very affordable using Arda. So these are the two things we can do for game studios, at least.
And so when you say you're going to launch the Orbs and Gods, which would be the first story to be launched on Arda, it's going to be, you're going to rely on the platform and the possibilities on the platform, which is already quite a thing. But some of the game developers might want to involve their community, their own community, in their own platform gamified experiences. Do you see a way for them to utilize AardaAI in order to set up the narrative, but still using their own platform to experience it?
Yeah, everything's possible. So first, around games, if it uses Unity, we have a Unity SDK that is already working. That's one. We have other studios asking just for the API calls. For example, I'm in contact with a French-Canadian studio, and they told me, well, we are using Unreal and we have our own logic. We don't want everything you're seeing. We just want the core tech, the organization, the arborescence, and that's absolutely possible with API calls. Yeah. So I guess, like you said, we could have QUDO games powered by AI in the background to draw the narratives and the chatbots. Yeah, definitely. That's absolutely doable. Yeah.
There is some business contact to get here. So Diogo, if you're watching us.
Yeah, please reach out. We're very busy, but we'll be even busier and super happy to work with you. Absolutely.
Love it. Cool. How are you aiming to, at some point, we're talking about games, but gaming is very broad. Are you aiming to revolutionize D&D?
Yeah, well, in some way, the way we see a revolution is maybe bringing some simplified D&D logic to the normies. I always refer to the normies. My goal, absolute goal, is for mass adoption of everybody being able to play somewhat complicated, advanced role-play experiences without even realizing it. Tabletop RPG people are not so into AI first. This is what I found out when I reached out to a few on TikTok. They're a bit reluctant, which I understand. There have always been anti-video game also to begin with. So I don't see a mass adoption here, but bringing this sort of D&D made easy for everyone, that's something that really appeals to me, and I want it to be successful with Arda. Hopefully that's going to be Orbs and Gods. Yeah.
It appeals to me too, because it's definitely my own experience. But if I have to choose to rely on someone to keep the booking and just making sure that this kind of move is going to lead to another move based on this story, I find that super boring. I'm sorry for all the D&D fan. I'm sorry for that. But I really feel like it's a little bit boring. But to rely on someone, even if it's an AI or whatever, to actually automatically know what's going to happen based on the conversation and the action. And make the conversation more, the flow of the conversation easier. I feel like it's super exciting, because I am a role play fan too. So yeah, super interesting.
Yeah, so something for you here. a glimpse on the future. So let's say we have two verticals we want to commit to when the platform comes out, after it comes out. First, fixing, improving the UI UX based on the feedback we have, of course. But the two other ones are making it more visual. As you can see, visuals and AI is going crazy right now, and tools are more accessible every day. And this is something people ask us. Can it be a little more lively? Can the characters move? Can they talk? Can I have some videos instead of just pop-ups here? So there is a demand here. People want it to be more lively. So we're going to look into that. But then again, the war is happening now. Everyone is shooting at each other. No, this is my tech. This is my tool. Use this, use this. We can wait a bit. The second vertical is the agentic aspect of it. Like imagine, for example, this this chapter here would be mostly AI, and the characters would be able to do anything. Imagine like kill the horse. I choose to kill the horse for whatever reason, because you are hungry. You see there's a horse here. Or I just ignore the guy here and just walks off. What happens? And the AI will be smart enough to propose your real playable chapter, unscripted, fully unscripted. And then whatever happens, you will land on your feet in the next chapter, and the elf lady will come to see you. So you asked the question to in the previous sessions. Yeah, freedom can be overwhelming with AI. So the whole challenge for us is really to find this sweet spot between absolute freedom, or at least illusion of absolute freedom, and strong guardrails that keep you on track. It's really the challenge of AI in creativity nowadays. So much freedom. Not everyone can handle so much freedom. When it's too much, it's just too much. It's like going to ChatGPT and say, write me a book. No one does that.
And it really echoes with the conversation we had, especially through the eye of Defraire, CEO at QUDO Games, where he's developing a lot of AI agent for brands for further engagement and retention for the brand audience. It feels like the brands need control, and when they tend to consider AI, it feels like they don't have control for everything because it's AI. True. And you can think of a lot of things. But when you rely on something like what you have, you can actually map what will be the kind of narrative you're setting up. Like you're building the fences of the kind of world you want to involve your audience. So I love it.
Absolutely. This is exactly what we do. See, in this chapter, I choose, okay, this is how I want more or less the chapter to go. This is scripted fully, user-facing. So the player will face this text, exactly this text. But here and here, okay, there's nothing, but I could add some AI context. It's more like I am a director, and I'm telling my two actors to play this scene that way without a script. It feels like it. And you still have the ability to type any text you want. As you could see, you can type anything you want. And maybe one thing I'll add to that is that I would want to tell people in game studios, don't be so afraid of the AI going off, because this is what players like. There's a huge lesson we took from 2 weeks ago, where the Chinese RPG called Where Winds Meet game dropped. I don't know how million players they had on the first day, and people had so much fun. They had AI NPCs, they had AI chatbot. They were not really good. They didn't remember anything from one conversation to the other. The AI went off all the time. Did players love it? Oh yeah, they did. They loved it so much. Reddit was on fire. And well, kudos to them, because they did it. They shipped something and people liked it. That's a real lesson here.
Interesting. Love it. Thanks a lot, Constantin. I really love it.
Thank you.
And great conversation, and that's the beginning, because a lot of things will be going on your side this year, and we'll be super happy to get you again and to show what you've been working on.
So much stuff to tell on this topic on Thursday. I have reports, I have numbers, I have everything. I'm ready.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you do your homework. I love that.
It's my passion. 3 years ago when AI came about, my whole career changed, and for the better. I'm super happy.
Love it. Thanks a lot, Constantin, for your
Thank
time.
you. See you
and,
around.
I see you in 2 days. Bye-bye.
Absolutely. Yeah. Take care. Bye.
Take care. Bye. All right, so now we should have. So it was super interesting. By the way, I really love the conversation we had, even for QUDO and things. And now we're super happy to welcome Ben. I'm gonna let Ben in. Hey Ben, good to see you.
Hey,
How
Flav.
are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm glad to see you again. Happy New Year. I'm not sure I said that even by email, so I hope you had a good time.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's been a busy start to the year, but all good.
Yeah, I imagine. No, we super happy to have you and to show what you got with 404.xyz. We were super happy to involve you in a lot of activities last year at Gamescom, at our booth, but also GDC last year. But again, happy to let you show what you got and how you involve AI in the process, because I know you do quite a lot. So you may not be familiar with StreamYard, but you have a share button below if you want to share your screen.
Okay.
So whenever you're ready.
All right, let's share my screen here. I'll start by just sharing a little bit about the project.
Okay.
And we'll basically run a couple of live demos. So yeah, thanks for having me back, Flav. It's always super interesting to present what we are doing. I think just a very brief background on what 404 is doing. 404 runs a subnet on BitTensor, which is a network, a crypto network aimed at using crypto emissions to incentivize AI model development. We are the only subnet, as they are called, that focuses on 3D content creation and focuses on gaming. But it means in practice, essentially, we use a decentralized network of miners that instead of doing proof of work as they would do in the case of Bitcoin, they do proof of useful work, which is to generate different 3D models and actually sort of different ways of generating 3D models. And so much of the work that we do builds upon open source foundational research and models. And then what we end up with are kind of new foundational models for 3D content creation that sit a bit above the open source standard, and I would argue are some of the best currently in the world. So we do this through a variety of different formats. When we started, the project started a little bit more research oriented, and we dealt with Gaussian splats, which are stereotypically a form of 3D representation that is not used in gaming. So you see them being used a lot right now in the world models that are coming out. So I find it technologically very interesting, but you can also convert them to meshes. And so when I show some of the work we're doing in game development and the demos, we'll look at more mesh outputs rather than Gaussian splat outputs. So I was trying to think of like what would be kind of most interesting to show to the audience today. And of course, we can generate a few 3D models, and we will do that. But I suspect if it's a somewhat AI native audience, that they may be familiar with some other alternatives like Meshi or Hunyan or Rodin, which are fundamentally of the same ilk. It's sort of a text or a 2D input goes in, some AI process runs, and a 3D model comes out. And that is what 404 fundamentally is doing. So if I go to our website, 404.xyz, we see it load up here. You can see some examples of the work here. You can see a catalog of various models that are generated, and we have a small app that you can run something yourself. So if we say, for example, a cyberpunk drone and generate this, we'll now see a countdown running, and in roughly a minute or less, we will have a 3D model. What's maybe interesting or unique for anybody that's looking to engage with AI content creation on the scale of 3D is that because we are focused on sort of open source and research, we are a free alternative for you. So I think here already the model has finished. It's one of the fastest 3D generation models today. So sometimes you will see these very high quality models being promoted on X or Insta, and they're very impressive, but they oftentimes take 8 to 10 minutes, usually with quite powerful GPUs to run. Whereas our approach has been a lot more kind of focused on maybe the prototyping, focused more on the indie game developer, focused more on the devs that don't necessarily have some of the budget to do this, but still want to use this to ideate into prototype. And so here, I think this is for waiting 30 seconds and not having been charged any money for this. I think this is quite a nice drone. You could also use our plugins, which are both in Unity and Blender, to get a little bit more functionality here. So things like mesh conversion and topology and things like that. So I would encourage people watching, if you want to kind of explore 3D, of course, using the website is an option. Or if you want to sort of see it a little bit more in progress, you can go to either our website, where when you click on the plugins page, you'll have the option here to go to Blender or to Unity, and you can see then the different solutions. And I think you'll see just that it's fairly straightforward. It's really kind of like a no-nonsense interface for us. This is probably, compared to some of the alternatives out there, this is the closest you're going to get to just a raw tech direct API call. You're just going to put in your image, you're going to put in your text, you're going to wait a very short amount of time, and you're going to get the model out. And then it's really a lot on the creativity of the user for how they want to do that. And I guess that's probably the second thing that I thought is maybe interesting to showcase here, because there's really not much onboarding needed. We're not a complex application layer. We don't have a ton of bells and whistles that you can do when you run this. But I would still argue that, especially for kind of a smaller team, you can do some really nice stuff. So there was recently an awards called the Chroma Awards, which, as far as I know, is the largest like AI in gaming awards that's ever been run. There were over 6,500 different entries. And we used our tech. So we internally had two people who'd never made a game before, one person who'd never used Unreal Engine before. And those two guys made a game called The Dream. They generated 12,000 different models. They used a bunch of sounds from 11 labs, generated a bunch of sounds from 11 labs. And I think it's a really nice showcase. They did this all in less than a month. And I think it's a really nice showcase. And it won the first prize, which was really exciting. I think it's a really nice showcase of where this kind of raw access to tech just lets you be creative in your own way. I think it's, if you want, you can use the AI to make very cartoonish or silly models. If you want, you can use the AI to make more realistic models. But ultimately, I'm just going to go into the play now so we can walk through it a little bit. I think ultimately, my view, I'm trained as an architect. I come from a creative background. My view is that this is just something that will amplify your own personal creativity here. And the models will not be perfect, but I think if we use them for what they're good for, ideation, for a certain type of aesthetic as well. So here, for example, we can see our character. This is all in Unreal Engine. So he walks over, and anybody can play this. It's live. And basically everything you're seeing on screen here is generated. So you're able to kind of walk down this ramp here. We'll get into a little bit of a lighter area. And you can see that there's like a small storyline here going to the print shop. This is all, again, sort of done, with two people over just a couple of weeks. And I think one of the things that we wanted to showcase is that there's something really interesting about the cinematic density that can come from having a generator. You may not want to generate the characters we've done, or you may not want to generate maybe some hero assets as we've done here. But having so many different assets in the background and around lets you kind of just do things very quickly and ideate around and explore, which is quite nice. So you've got even some laundromat. I think if I go back here, all of these shelves, all of the different items on the shelves, the tires on the floor. I think a lot of this is you find that these are things that can be quite interesting and add depth to a scene. Yeah, here's a laundromat back here. So yeah, this is basically a good example of what people are using the tech for. And I think it's also kind of a nice example of showing that you still need to be a game developer ultimately to use AI in a meaningful way. You know, a lot of this is atmospheric, so you can't hear it, but it's the sound that goes along with it. It's the narrative of like, what's the storyline? What are we trying to achieve? Where does the intrigue and sort of the storytelling come from? But it also does let you do things like spatial storytelling and narrative, because you have such a powerful generative process that you can work from. So, you know, even things like here, if I go over and I check the note, I'll see that now I've sort of hit the next level. I can go back, and now my objective has changed. I have to go to the apartment. And I think the other thing that the guys wanted to showcase in this was, not only are you able to do quite a huge scale of different activities, of different 3D models here, but you're also able to generate across like a bunch of different types. So that was kind of a wasteland area. And if we come over here and we get in the lift, then what we're going to do is we're going to end up where we're taking the lift up, and we're going to go see basically like a little bit of an oasis up at the top of the city, where you can get a view out over how visually dense the entire scene is. So here we'll run into the apartment. Can just progress the storyline by checking the note. And here, if we get out, we'll see basically the sort of how big exactly this scene is. Oops.
And can you say me again? Can you tell me again how they are utilizing 404 for this specific experience for all the assets they're generated through the platform, or?
Exactly. So all of the assets that you see on screen are generated through the platform. So through that Blender plugin, basically they were using that Blender plugin extensively to generate all of these assets.
Okay.
And I think like part of our thesis in doing so was just to show that the process of game creation is still fundamentally an exercise in creativity from the people who are doing it, but having something like a generator that like gives you this type of freedom makes that a small, like, two people can do far more. So I think, you know, this is quite an extensive scene for two people to have worked on over just a couple of weeks, and then we can release this as an alpha version over Steam. And I think depending on kind of our feedback from the community, we might continue to develop this. But again, this was done really as simple as just text and image prompting, you know, at scale. And since these are done, since you can do this already in Blender or in Unity, then you can export directly those same assets right into Unreal Engine, which is where we ended up doing this.
This is crazy. I actually bookmarked just this morning the game, but now I can already experience what it is. But I did see it this morning, and it looks crazy. So congrats to them, I guess.
It's great, and it's really cool that it was the winner, and I think we will continue to develop it. But you can really do a lot of stuff. So there's just a brief shot from our Instagram page here. But like, you know, you can do stuff that looks a little bit more like light and friendly. You can do things. So again, basically everything you're seeing on the screen here is generated assets here. We even have like a couple of tutorials for how we've helped make those. So these are all the individual assets that get generated by the artist who's doing it. And then some of the fun becomes a little bit like curator and compositor. So basically with all these assets, they built up a scene over layers, put in the atmospherics again themselves. And so stereotypically, who we find using our tech the most are a lot of times environment artists. So they might be people that are not 3D modelers themselves, but have like a very good idea about like creating and curating spaces within video games. And this is the kind of stuff that people have made with it.
Oh my God. This is so good. So how do you expect the game developers to utilize these more and more? Like, how do you see that being a part of the development process? Will it be, as you said, first to iterate a little bit and kind of maybe test the ideas and see if it's actually useful, or you can go deeper than that? You just said that the next step could be to put that on Steam and just iterate a little bit more about what they can do.
Yeah, I think I kind of see it in two camps. I think there are people that will want to use AI to reach game-ready states. And I believe that AI, I don't believe it's there yet today, but I believe that AI is moving very quickly in that direction. And if you use a combination of AI models together, you can get things into a very polished and professional stage. So for example, using image models and multimodal models to refine, edit, break apart into pieces before going into a 3D generative process. There are also some nice neural networks that do post-generation retopologies and things like this. And we are working on an application layer for 404 that does essentially that, gives you access to all of these commercially viable AI models out there. But and I think that is very interesting. But I think for 404, the exciting thing is that if you're a small or an indie game developer, I think you may find that you don't necessarily need the full application layer suite. I think your enterprise clients may tend towards something that is more of a product suite of AI tools, where they feel that they have the budget and they're willing to spend to have this kind of easier experience and non-destructive workflows. But the nice thing in our experience at these game shows and game events is that oftentimes indie game developers are kind of like hacking stuff together in a way. They're not looking for the sort of the perfectly polished solution. And so I think in that case, just being able to sort of get these raw models, digitally sculpt them up a little bit, figure out, what's the sweet spot for their game, how do they want to curate the inputs into the AI, that to me is a pretty exciting possibility. This game that we did, the Dream game, is really like a good example of that, where, I'll just go back to the main page here. There's really, there's nothing here other than two creative people that got access to some raw generative tech. And I think to me with 404, what we're doing with 404, with the fact that it leverages open source models, the fact that we have this kind of BitTensor crypto component to it, it makes it a good fit for that type of developer. And so I think that, and oftentimes, sometimes when I go to these events and I talk to other people in the Blockchain Game Alliance, my feeling is that a lot of us, especially these days, we don't have some huge budget that we're working out of. You just want to sort of try to leverage tech in a way that does cool stuff for you and doesn't take away your creative agency. And I think that's then for a pretty good fit for 404.
I agree. Yeah, that's interesting. One question I had, yes, it was related to BitTensor. How do you see a fit between what you're developing and the blockchain aspect of it? So you just mentioned that. I think it's, what I understood, is also based on the proof of ownership from the designer prompting these kind of design available for everyone, right? You kind of try to incentivize everyone to prompt something, right?
Yeah, I think so BitTensor is an incredibly interesting project. So BitTensor looked at how can crypto, and especially sort of the model of Bitcoin, be used to incentivize proof of useful work, especially as it relates to AI. And so the way that we use blockchain is none of these models are on-chain. There's not sort of the traditional idea of on-chain ownership of either the AI models or the 3D models, but rather it's an incentive structure. It's to say that there are very, very creative AI engineers out there, right? Guys that work. So for example, in my experience, I've had the opportunity to talk to guys that work at DeepMind who have said, oh, on the weekend, I go and I play around on BitTensor because there are all of these different sort of models that I can build or things that I like, competitions I can join in. And yes, you get financially rewarded for adding to the network and building on the network, and that's significant. But I think there's also just an intellectual curiosity of the people that are building there. Many of the projects like ours are open source. There is of course a little bit of focus on monetization and revenue and longer term business viability, but there's also an element of giving back to the research community and trying to push the borders of like what is possible. I think a really good example that has been used sometimes is that, if when Google was building for the first time, they just figured they wanted to monetize from ads or something, it would look a lot different than it did today. And so I think there's this balance of like, how do you make this a viable, sustainable business, but also how do you sort of think about pushing the boundaries of research further? And I'm really pleased that we're doing that kind of within gaming and within 3D tech on BitTensor. So I think that's kind of the backbone of the BitTensor subnet ecosystem.
Love it. What would be the objective you set up for 2026 on your side? What would be the kind of objectives you have in mind?
So I think our main objective is, I believe still 404 is a little bit like this hidden gem. We haven't done an extensive amount of marketing for it, and I think we're gonna change that here going forward. But I think we would just love people to start building cool creative projects with it, tag us, show us what you're building, and also give us feedback. I mean, fundamentally, this is a project and an area of tech that is moving and evolving very quickly. And so I think as we hear from people, so one of the early things we heard, for example, we were generating Gaussian splats, and Gaussian splats are quite interesting, and they have certain like opacities, and they can handle huge amounts of files in some cases. But what we heard very often was, this is difficult to use with an existing gaming system. So things like event triggers or collision detection doesn't work particularly well. And so from that, we decided, okay, we're going to expand this offering. And now we have a model that does Gaussian splats, and we have a model that does meshes. And I think we take that, into consideration. I think similarly, what we see in the industry right now is that there are some better mesh models than us, but they're somewhat expensive and they take a really long time to generate. And there is kind of a nice niche in the industry now where if you can get a model back in less than a minute, that helps you not lose your creative flow, so you can stay in, you can keep prototyping, and sure, maybe ultimately you'll use that to prototype or vibe code an extensive sort of open world, and you might go back and manually touch up some of the hero assets, or maybe you'll go to one of those more professional models and spend the money necessary to upgrade some assets. But yeah, I think I think our main goal is just to increase our adoption, see how people start to use this, get feedback, and then keep building, and especially in the open source communities.
I mean, we are not also respectful of your time, because I know you are a busy guy for sure, and super happy to get you for this kind of demo we have today. But we're going to have a conversation, a panel discussion this Thursday around the challenges of educating gaming studio around the use of AI, because you have a mix of fears and excitement when you talk about AI in gaming. How do you see that? Like, do you still see a big challenge to explain and educate game developers about the benefit of what you're doing?
Yes and no. I think much less fear than there was a few years ago. We have been sort of doing this for a couple of years. Still some people and some realistic reason for fear there. But I think also my gut feeling is a certain level of acceptance, whether positive or negative, that this is somewhat of a transformative technology here, and it's here to stay. I mean, it's kind of funny now when you think back about some of the stuff that already we were sort of dismissive of a few years ago. I was just having a chat with one of our colleagues where, I remember when people thought AI would never do a good 2D image because it couldn't do hands. And people were saying, AI will never learn how to make a hand. And now in retrospect, that seems insane. There, of course, given the breadth of things AI can do, of course it can figure out there's 5 fingers on a hand. And now, we're at the stage where, some of these new Gemini models can create AI images that are very, very close to indistinguishable between reality and photos. And I think, for better or for worse, that is the way that things are moving. I think videos will be one of the next ones. Videos already kind of look like the image generators did a few years ago. You can tell it's an AI video, but it's got elements of realism. I think 3D is one step further behind. I think it's still pretty easy to spot a 3D AI generated model as opposed to one that was created by hand. But realistically, you can expect the same sort of progression over time. And so to me, what that means is accept and embrace these tools as part of the way that you work. Do so where you can ethically from companies that you believe are not misusing artist data. Do so from, like, I would argue, open source research projects as well, which are very good about being very open about where data comes from, how they train models, because all of that code is available for anybody to audit. And beyond that, I think the other thing that's become kind of apparent, even in something as developed as the 2D space, is that it doesn't really remove the creative aspect of a good game. Like I think in the 2D space, yeah, you see a lot of AI slop in some advertising, right? Like some really kind of like low budget advertising stuff. But I don't think most artists really felt like, oh, I'm sad that I'm losing sort of that advertising that would have previously never been done anyway. I think what you see is that what you want to keep hold of is the sort of the creative direction. How do you make sure that you are, making something that, whether it's an image, whether it's a video, whether it's a 3D model, or whether it's an entire game, how does it tell a story and a narrative behind it? Because that's something that you're not really going to get one-shotted out of an AI. I personally, for example, find the world models to be incredibly interesting from a technology perspective, but I don't find them that interesting from a creative perspective, because I don't really have the desire to one-shot the entire game. For example, I think the process of generating, like we did in this game, The Dream, of generating like 12,000 assets, but then sort of curating which ones you did and placing them and trying to tell a story like spatially by when the spaces are closed off and confined, when it opens up, how it relates to like your destinations and your sequences and your narratives. I'm trained as an architect, and so all of these are very kind of spatial and architectural concepts that you learn, and then the actual sort of implementation of that, whether partially generated or drawn by hand, I think is less interesting to me personally than the storytelling and the spatial narrative that you would create for somebody. So I understand the fear and hesitation, but I also think I would err on the side of this is going to be a transformative tech to the gaming industry, and how do we use it in the right way and make sure that we're just doing more interesting, cool stuff than we were before.
I love it. Well, thanks a lot, and again, thanks for showing the products. And I'm gonna play the game very, very, very soon, because I loved it when you actually shared it on X. So it was super interesting. So thanks for going into that too, and explain the process of using 404. Should I expect to see you at GDC in a few months?
Yes, I will definitely be at GDC, and would be great to meet up there. That'll be great.
Definitely. Thanks a lot, Ben, for coming. I really appreciate the demo. It was great.
No, it was my pleasure. Thanks, Flav, for having me.
No problem. Have a good day, Ben, and I see you in a few weeks, I guess.
All right.
Bye-bye. All right, going through, again, it was super interesting. I think we're going to obviously shop a little bit of what we just discussed with Ben, because it was so insightful and really a source of inspiration as well. So we're going to go into our last demos, and last but not least with Morphic. And I'm super happy right now to put Ishika on. How are you doing, Ishika? Oh, you may be muted, or I cannot hear you.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
Perfect. How are you doing, Flav?
I'm doing good. What about yourself?
Doing well, doing well.
Yeah,
Awesome.
thanks a lot for coming. Super excited to discover Morphic and for you to explain what it is and how it could be used. So it's super easy to use. I know it might be the first time you're using StreamYard, but if you want to share your screen, you have a share button below in the middle, and either you want to maybe share a deck first, so you can already immediately share the deck itself, or you want to share the screen, which might be easier. And I can see your screen, and yeah. Okay,
Perfect.
You're good to go. You know the drill. Perfect. Let me just remove this one. Go ahead.
Awesome. I can go ahead?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, please.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thanks for having me, Flav. Good to be here. Hi, guys. So I'm Ishika. I lead BD at Morphic. So for those who don't know what Morphic is this all-in-one generative AI platform where you're able to create everything ranging from text, image, video, and all of that from a single, workspace. So you can see similar kind of what we have here. It's very much like Figma. In the whole generative AI space, we found that the process to create either an end-to-end story or assets seems to be super fragmented. where you have to kind of use multiple tools to really get your consistency in and also get the best outputs, whether that's for image or video generation. So we kind of consolidated all of that into one workflow where you're able to do everything end to end. And we've used the best models in the market as well. And so one of the biggest use cases that we've been seeing on Morphic is, game designers. They've been using Morphic to really help in the pre-production phase for developing their game. And that ranges use case-wise from character creation, character explorations, in-game asset generation, background generations, even assets for marketing, right? Creating like title screens or, just to market the game, clips of the game in the gaming style, creating sprite sheets, etc. And I'll go through kind of all of these use cases with you guys on Morphic shortly. So that's a quick introduction of Morphic. The whole idea here is to really streamline that pipeline, make game studios move faster without compromising the style and quality that you're creating here. So we have a few gaming studios already using Morphic for these exact use cases I was mentioning. And so I want to also kind of go into the product and show you how you can execute these use cases for your own game. So we'll get right into it. So once you log into Morphic, you can go to morphic.com. Once you log in, you kind of land into this Morphic file. So every file you see, you'll have a Canvas, Copilot, and Compose. So there are 3 tabs within each file. And so Canvas right here, which is what you're seeing, is kind of this open area where you're able to do all your generations. And you have your core prompt bar here, which is where you're going to actually prompt those generations. Now, let's pretend kind of you're already working on a game and you have your style established. So given that you have a style established, you're going to want to generate more assets in that specific style. So one of our core features on Morphic is actually being able to lock in a specific style as well as a specific character. So in the prompt bar itself, you'll actually see a few options here. This is where you'll be able to generate between image and video. And while doing those, over here, you'll see you're able to actually select the style. Now, by default, without any style selected, Morphic is going to generate the output in photorealism. However, if you want to keep your style intact, this is where you're actually going to select that style. So you'll be able to create your own style as well. So for example, I have one style trained here where it's called pixelated. It's kind of this 2D pixelated gaming style, which I've trained on. And so if I were to now prompt, let's say I'm trying to create a cool jungle background for my game. So I can just prompt mystic jungle with a waterfall, very basic. I'm just gonna prompt here and I have my style selected and I'm just gonna generate. So now what happens is every time you prompt something and you have pixelated style selected, all your generations will come out in that style. So this is very useful for really kind of creating your backgrounds and in-game assets. So you can see I have a few while this generates over here. I'll drag it up here. You can see I have a few other examples over here. It might be a little blurry, I think, on your guys' end. I'm not sure if that's a rendering issue. Okay, there we go. Here you go. So you can see this is more on like kind of the GTA style. Then you have a little more 3D. These are just different style explorations. So now let's say, here we go. So this is kind of my pixelated output. So if I come back to, my workspace, if you come back, you'll see this model section. So if I select models here, you'll be able to actually train your style here. So for example, if I open pixelated, so you can see kind of if I open this, you'll see the type of images I've uploaded here to train my style. It's all images of backgrounds, objects, and other environments as well. So whatever style it is, you can upload these images and then press train. And you can do the same thing with characters. So if I press new model, you'll be able to drop down style, upload those and name your style as well. And then you can then use it to create those assets. And it'll take around 5 to 10 minutes to train, but let's come back where I open this. So let's say I have trained the style. Now you'll be able to select it here and generate accordingly. Awesome. So I actually have a few, for example, let's say, this was your other style. This is more on the 3D realism side, very similar to kind of GTA. We have image referencing as well. So you can actually just select the image. You can always drag and drop your own assets directly to canvas as well. So I can just select this image and now say a jail room environment in this style, right? And with image referencing, it'll pick up the image and generate something else according to that. So this is how you can move like really fast as well with image referencing. So maybe here I can say a train inside a train room. Apocalyptic train. Like this. So here I don't have to select the style model because I'm giving an image reference. But if you're starting from complete scratch, this is where you would use it, right? The text and then selecting the style. So we'll wait a second.
And why this visualization matters, like why these full visualization you have and full images you have is very important in your work process. How do you feel like it's actually easier to work like that with like acting? It feels like it's acting as a mood board or something like that. I don't know if it's on purpose or you would like to explain the work process, which make it easier for any kind of designer.
Of course. So like, yes, there's two ways. One is you can use it like as a mood board, right? You're visualizing still your game. That's where you can use it as a mood board, where kind of what I was doing, right? Just prompting a bunch of random stuff to get the mood of the game. However, like we have also other studios using this to generate a specific environment, right? Like let's say I'm creating scene 2 of my story, which is specifically set in like a jungle, and you have all of that written out. That's where you can actually execute those, right? So it really helps in terms of visualization. Okay, there we go. It's fully rendered. So now you can see these outputs here, right? And these can then be passed on. Now, something really cool here is, let's say you want to now also understand what does the entire room look like from like a 3D perspective, right? So in any image, you'll be able to create a 3D motion clip of it. So when you select an image on the top, you'll see 3D motion. So what this does is generate a rig, right? So now you're able to actually like move around here. Now this is obviously working with a single flat image, so it's going to just generate what it thinks the rest of the room would look like. So this is also just more effective in terms of visualization and exploration. So let's say I want to move my camera here. I can press new position. Then I can move my camera here and right this way and press new position. So all I've done here is select the keyframes. And now this is a pre-render of what I've selected. So I'm going to have the camera motion move like this and across to this. So like you saw like a little bit of the lag. That's because if you do too drastic of a frame change, that may happen. So maybe instead of that, I can just move it to like right here, update position, right? So now we'll see the render.
This is such a very cool features. Like I know you're very well known, especially on social media, for doing that. But every time I see that, I'm impressed. That's super cool. Yes.
So that's also a great way for like environment exploration and creating really cool 3D clips as well. Cool. So that's kind of how you do the style intact and really generate those frames, right? And the same goes with characters. So you're able to actually upload your character, or if you don't have a character, you can generate a character in your style, right? So what's a really cool thing is and a lot of gaming studios, they create character sheets. And to really streamline that process, for example, let's say you have just a single character created, you can actually generate an entire sheet from a single image, right? Of course, it may not be exactly to what you were envisioning, but it's a great way to get a head start on it, right? The way we see Morphic is it's not supposed to like completely replace your pipeline. It's supposed to work as kind of like your intern, where it helps you streamline a lot of the processes that may have been redundant, right, before. So, for example, right, this is an example of a character I had created, and then I was able to generate all these different poses of them. Now let's do that one from scratch. So we'll pretend here, this is our character that I've uploaded. This is the one I've created myself. And now I need a character sheet for it. So what I can do is select this image, and on the right, you'll see create model. So when I press create model, this is going to create an entire 360 for my character. This is one way of doing it. It'll just take a second. The other way is you can select the image. Like I showed before, you'll have an image prompt. In the prompt, you can write generate 4 poses of this character, and it will do that. However, this is another way to get a really nice up close shots and all of that. So you can see it's created automatically a lot of variations for me. Up close, then we have like side shots like this. And we also have, you know, another expression. Right? So this is how you can effectively create a lot of these different shots from a single image.
It feels like, let me know if I'm wrong, but it feels like you're mostly tapping into an audience of game developers or designers who want to test an ID, but probably have a specific view on the ID and the different design they want to have, depending on the characters, depending on the environment, like you just said. But also, it's good for this audience, but also this audience could use the platform for content production. So at the end of the process, using the testing phase of using the platform to publish something or to create something content-wise on different platforms for promotion and everything. It feels like it, but I don't know.
No, you're totally right. Like the current studios using our product, they use it for these 2 main use cases: the pre-production, which is where they do all of this visualization, kind of what I'm showing you. And the second part is for content as well, right? Creating really fast content in their style to market.
Love it. That's super cool.
Cool. More on the pre-production side, there's a lot of cool workflows as well. I know some studios like to sketch and then turn those sketch into renders. So you're able to actually do very similar approach here, where you upload your sketch and then you'll just select your input type that this is a sketch, color it in XYZ, or you can even upload like a palette and do image referencing, right? So by doing that, you're essentially, 1 minute, sorry. I just got a new keyboard. Okay, there we go. So by doing that, you're essentially like applying your style here. So I selected my input as a sketch. You can just type in any descriptive details, and then on the style side, you would select your specific style, right? Whether that's 3D kids or your gaming style, and it would output, you know, that sketch as a render here, right? So that's kind of how you go about converting sketches. Similarly, like I was showing you for characters, you can create the character turn-ons, but you can also create a character sprite sheet. So let's pretend this is our character. You know, we can just mention, hey, create a 2D art sprite sheet of this character, right? Or 3D, however you'd like. So that's kind of, you can just prompt it. Let's pretend like, let's do it for this character maybe. Create a sprite sheet for this character. So I can select the image and then just, you know, output that like this. It may not be like every single one you want to use, but it's pretty effective for actually just quickly iterating on what the spreadsheet could look like. And a really great part here is you can layer out these elements. So of course, right now it's generated as an image, but you have the ability to actually auto segment certain elements and, you know, extract the layers and export the layers. So I can just auto segment, or like you can also just select which ones you want to segment out. So you have object selection, which I selected, and you have auto segment. Object selection gives you the ability to manually choose what you want to layer out. Auto segmentation will automatically just decide what it wants to layer out. So now you can see I can select any of these, right? So I'll select this, maybe this one and this one. And now I can, let me scroll up a bit. You can see it says separate as layer. So now I'm able to separate these outputs as a layer.
And I might be asking too much, but because we just said it's helping you in different phases of the production process, do you see the tool to be a collaborative tool, like something you can work with different departments, like the design department for the marketing department and everything?
Of course. So here on the top right, you'll see invite to collaborate.
Oh yeah. Love it.
So Morphic is very much a collaborative tool. You can invite all your members to, your organization. And the best part is, if I come back, you'll see this is my dashboard, right? So everyone in your organization can create their own files and projects. So projects is a group of files. So let's say like design department wants one, and marketing wants their own. You can create separate projects. And another good part is any model you train in an organization is shareable. So marketing can use the same style model, design can use the same style model.
Super cool. Thanks, Ishika.
Awesome. Cool. I think that was done. Let's check. Oh, I think it just, because I exited out, I think it has undone the...
Oh, my bad.
No worries. That's my fault. I totally forgot about that. But yes, ideally, this would have come out as a layer, and then you could just move it around. So I'll show you an example. So this was done as a layer. So now I can see this object has come out.
Okay.
And then here also, I think she's a layer here. So now you can work with her and export her as a layer. So that's kind of how layers work.
Cool.
Awesome. So this is kind of how you create like these images that I'm showing you. Now, very similar to images, you can create clips. So a lot of people like this 3D turnaround of the character. I feel like that has been a pretty interesting use case. So for example, they would take their character and generate a 3D turnaround like this.
Yeah.
Right? So this is really simple to do. And certain motions like this.
Okay, within a specific environment is something you can easily do too.
Correct. So how this is done is basically you create a frame. So pretend, let's do one together. We'll pretend this woman is going to be our main character. I'm sorry, I think it's a bit laggy on my hand. But yeah, this woman is our main character, and we'll put her in this environment here. Okay. Now, this is kind of going into how to create frames with multiple references. Now, in your prompt bar, you'll see select on canvas, and you can select two references. That this is the woman, this is my environment. I can say add in the drop. Oh, sorry, add the girl from image 1 in the background of image 2. So that would be my prompt, and make sure your style is not selected here. And I'll just generate right here. Awesome. So now I'm taking two references. I'm creating a frame basically where she's standing here. And then we can create like different motions with her. Or, like just to create a simple 3D effect here, you're going to just take your initial character frame, and what you'll do is in the prompt, you'll select a video. Now this is where you can change and create different clips, but the simple thing here is create a 360 turnaround. And you can generate. And that was the prompt pretty much here to create that. Okay, so we got her in this background. Right, and now I can say she walks around robotic style movement, right? And I'll turn this into a video and generate. So here it's mostly like visualizing what does the movement look like while like a character walks around and stuff like that. So that's kind of what we did here, where like, this character is just running and swinging his sword. And a really cool part is if you're creating a video and let's say you like this, you can actually export this video as individual frames and work with those. Here's another one in a different style. Another use case we see is for these video clips. A lot of people like to create these game cut trailers. So on YouTube, you'll see like a trailer for a game. So you can actually like create these same clips and stitch it together to create a trailer. And using kind of the frame, how you generate the frames and the characters, you're able to create like consistent, continuous frames, right? To create really a storyline end to end. So similarly, kind of how I was showing you with the environment, you're able to do the same with in-game assets, right? So if I were to choose like this style, right? I'm going to select it as an image reference because I don't have a style trained. In this style, generate 15, let's say armor pieces, armor sets. Let's say that's my in-game asset. So I can now create like different assets as well.
So creating an asset based on the environment you generated, or based on the character you actually generated as well.
So this is based on the style,
Yeah,
right?
style.
I've just selected the style. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And as these generate, we also have so I know right now I'm currently kind of showing like 3D styles. However, you're able to do very similar stuff with 2D as well. So it works really good with 2D. So this is giving us armor within the environment. However, I can just say, so if I were to come here, you can also just prompt it. So I can just say, prompt it. I can just prompt, professional fantasy weapons collection, a lot of words, select your style, and then it'll output, let's say, that. We'll do it in, maybe pixelated and generate. And similarly to how we were showing the layering of the sprite sheet, you can layer out these elements that have been generated as well. Cool. The video here has created. Let's check it out. So you get the idea kind of how you were to turn it into a video. Okay, there we go. So this is in the pixelated style that I selected. Yeah. Cool. So that's kind of creating the in-game assets. Now other stuff is we also have Copilot, which is within Canvas, right? Or your Morphic file. Copilot's like your internal ChatGPT. Some people just like this interface and really like helping visualize stuff and iterating on top of it. So you can do a lot of like text related prompts here. So I can just say, help me visualize a character in a 2D pixel style. This is great for starting out. So like, for example, I can just say fantasy here. Or you can also work with existing assets. So let's say I upload an image. I'm like, describe the style for me, because I'm not able to figure out what style my artwork is in. I can upload my own image, ask it to describe a style, and then say, in the same style, can you create all of these other assets? Can you create a character for me? So a lot of NPC character generations can be done like that. Can you create in-game weapons for me? You could do it like that. So it's a very similar use case from Canvas as well. It's just an easier way to, I guess, collaborate on Copilot, because some people like doing it in a text method. So here are some examples, right, that it's created. I'm like, okay, I like this. Create a sprite sheet, right? So another way of executing the same thing.
Yeah, it depends on the way you prefer to interact with the platform. Either it's because you're a designer, Canvas seems to be a fit, or Copilot seems to be really based on what we're seeing in the market. We're prompting something and discussing, and vibe coding might not be the word, but kind of discussing with the AI to compose something you want. So interesting, different ways to talk to it.
Yes, I know we're short on time. Last thing I do want to show you is creating content, right? Using these workflows. It's very effective. How I was showing you to create the scenes, you're basically creating those scenes in your style and then turning them into video clips to stitch. There we go. We got the sprite sheet, right? From this. So like, I'll show you a quick example like of a game cut trailer that we were doing. So what we've done is created like an entire script, and in the script we put it into Morphic and asked it to help us create these scenes. And it's a very like 3D realism style. So you can see kind of we've created all the frames here like this. And then now what we're going to do is finalize which of the frames you want to use and then turn them into video clips. But this is sort of the process you go about in terms of creating these game cut trailers. And you know, some studios have found this very effective in just creating a lot of marketing content super fast. Just like this. Right? So Morphic is great with that. And for that, people come and use Copilot. They would just, you know, upload their script and say, can you create a storyboard for me? And you would get very similar to what I was just showing you in here. Yes. Cool. So I think kind of that goes into a lot of the workflows here. I just kind of showed you guys a lot of things just to get some ideas pumping, but I would really encourage you guys to really try this out. And if you have any questions or comments, or you want to discuss how other use cases in gaming, feel free to contact me and we can always get a demo set up for you and the team as well.
And obviously, first, thanks a lot, Ishika, for the demo. Super interesting. First time for me too. So that's why I had a few questions on my side. So I really enjoyed it. I will share in the BGA Telegram group every context. Perfect. Every context about the speakers we had for the past 2 hours and a half, 2 hours and a half with all the speakers, including yourself. So if any one of the members would like to contact Ishika and the others, either you contact me or you're going to be able to see the contact details on the Telegram group of the BGA. Ishika, your lead, your decision, but should we talk about the opportunity for members if they want to utilize that with the specific discount / offer?
Yeah.
Up to you.
Of course, I wasn't sure if I could talk about it now. If you want to, I'm happy to talk about that. Awesome. Well, so we do have a discount going on for BGA members, as would love to see like a lot of these studios, gaming companies use it. So basically what it'll allow you to do is you'll get 7 days of free Morphic Pro. We'll give you guys a code. You can use that code. It will give you 7 days of Morphic Pro for free for you guys to really test it out and try out the workflows I was just kind of showing you. And post that, if you really like it, we have a 25% discount on the yearly subscription plans if you guys were to come and take up a yearly subscription plan. So yes, I think post this session, I will share that code with Flav, and maybe Flav can send it out to the community. But yes, would love if there's any questions, or like you guys want to do a specific workshop with your gaming company or team, I'm happy to do a demo or workshop there as well. But yes, I hope this discount really helps you guys play with the tool and kind of see the capabilities and see where you could integrate it in your pipeline.
Love it. Thanks. And as you said, yes, I'm going to share that to the other members. You do know, all members, that we have a discount and offer page only for members. So I'm going to add that as well, this entry, and I'm going to kind of notify everyone that it's on the website. So Ishika, thanks again for the time you had to present everything, and exciting stuff. Excited as well on my side to see the kind of use cases, even if it's because gaming is a part of it, but you're talking to designer, movie designer as well, like anything related to that. So it will be awesome to follow up on your leads and all the companies you're going to be able to involve. So thanks again for coming today.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Flav. Appreciate it.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. So we are at the very end. It was great. I hope you had a good time. I really learned a lot from the members we had today. Again, we're going to have a conversation on Thursday. We might have a workshop tomorrow. I'm setting that up today. But I will let you know in any way on our socials and our Telegram group. Thanks a lot for your time. Really appreciate that. I wish you a very good end of the day for some, maybe beginning of the day for the others. And see you soon. Bye-bye.